right. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are live with the book study, Fall of America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, chapter 16 and 17. And I have my awesome co-host, Sister Mayat. Peace and blessings. How you doing, Queen?
Peace and blessings. I'm good. Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday.
Excellent, excellent. All right. So we are on chapter 16, Independence Day.
If I'm not mistaken, are we going to, isn't it 16, 17, and 18?
Um,
Let me see. I think it's 16 through 18, if I'm not mistaken.
okay. Well, then I can just correct the title soon as we over. I'll update the title to 16, 17, and 18.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. It's 16 to 18. I just saw the thumbnail.
Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
All right. So if you don't mind, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
And this is just something that came to my mind before we start because I really want to know what you think about it. And so my question to you is, as original people, do you believe we are governed spiritually by the law of duality, or commonly called the law of opposites?
So, are you meaning the law where the opposites attract?
No,
Okay.
duality, meaning just like everything in the universe has an opposite.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. That everything in the universe do have an opposite. Um, but any more detail can you give me on there?
Okay, so let me ask you. Okay, so watch this, because I'm trying not to. I'm trying to get to a point.
Okay.
If I walked up to you and I just asked you to define the law of opposites, how would you define it? Don't give me no examples. Just tell
Mhm.
me your definition.
I would say just as you have good, you have bad, good and evil, opposite. Even down to the grass. There's a blade of grass that's male. There's a blade of grass that's female.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a word. Now you gave me examples. You didn't give me a definition. I actually don't give me no examples, but I'm gonna give you a word and you give me the opposite. You ready?
Okay.
East,
West,
sister,
brother,
boy,
girl,
up,
down,
right,
wrong,
hot,
cold,
positive,
negative,
big,
small,
mother.
father,
Okay, now, so when we think of the motherland, where is that?
Africa.
So where's the fatherland?
I think we don't think of a fatherland because we take God as our father and we use the earth as mother, because we get all of our nourishment and our things that we need to live off, quote unquote, Mother Earth. Um, yeah. The only country that I know that called theirs the fatherland, that was Germany.
Okay, so when you look at a map and you see how the eastern and western hemisphere, the
Hmm.
shape of the eastern western hemisphere, and how they like fit together like a puzzle.
Hmm.
When I don't know, for some reason I was like, because that thought came to my mind, and I was like, well, if Africa is the motherland, is are the Americas the fatherland?
Hmm.
Because you see how, when they come together, that Pangea, they just fit together like a glove. And I just want to read to you what popped up into my head and see what your thoughts are. So I said, this is what I wrote. I have come to think Europeans have succeeded at eradicating the historical presence. history, and significance of the pre Columbian black man in the Americas. If I am correct, it explains the rape and pillage of African nations. Africa, our motherland, her covering has been removed, leaving her vulnerable and unprotected. When the black man in the Americas wake up, stand up as the father of civilization he is, the two continents will come together and heal. That was just my thoughts.
Hmm, that's very interesting. Um, that is very, very interesting. And I believe, I think it was the messenger or the minister that said something very similar to that. Um, and that the world is waiting for the black man to wake up and stand up. So yeah, I definitely think you're on to something right there. Most definitely.
Okay, so here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Chapter 16, Independence Day. Whose independence? Since 1776, you, black man, have been worshiping the 4th of July along with the real author of the 4th of July, the white man, as a day of independence for themselves. It is the white slave master and his children who enjoy setting forth the 4th of July as a day of rejoicing over achieving this country's independence from any other foreign source. Now, the history of the 4th of July shows that it is the Independence Day of the American white man. They wrote the Declaration of Independence for themselves. The white man did not put anything in the Declaration of Independence for the benefit of the black man, who was the servitude slave of the white man at that time. The joy which the black slave experienced on these holidays of the white man was due to the black man getting a rest from his labor and the days which the white man had set aside for celebration. That is all the black slave was rejoicing over, that he did not have to work that day. But you're free now, and you do not need this for an excuse for your worship of the 4th of July. There is no further need for us to worship the gaining of the white man's independence. Let us look again at our own black independence and how it came on this same day of the 4th of July, at the coming of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever, on July 4th, 1930. The significance of his coming to us on the Independence Day of the white man is very great. It is their day of great rejoicing. As with former peoples and their governments, their destruction took place when they were at the height of their rejoicing. Nebuchadnezzar, according to the Bible history of him, was walking around in his palace and proudly looking around and admiring the skill of the work he had set up and said, "Has not all this my hand wrought?" The Bible teaches us that while the words were in his mouth, the end came. Allah changed his mind and heart from that of a civilized man to the mind and heart of a beast. He had the brain reactions of a wild beast, and he was cast out among the dumb brutes. What does that signify? It gives us a gleaning into the history of the white man and his being cast out of the society of the Muslims 6,000 years ago, after he was made and then started trouble among the people of the righteous. Troublemaking caused the white man his exile into the hills and cave sides of West Asia, as Europe was called at that time. So Allah taught me its name was changed to Europe after the white man was cast into that area. Europe means a place where people are bound in to keep them out of the society of the righteous. Moses made the white man an independent race. through the guidance which Allah gave Moses to guide the white man out of his savage cave life and put him on the road of conquest of the black man. For 400 years, the white man swallowed us, the black man of America, up. He did not put us in a hole of the earth, but he swallowed us up by keeping anything like wisdom from coming to us. He set a bound against our own black people visiting us in order to prevent them from teaching us anything other than what the white man was teaching our black slave fathers. This cage just in and made just as secure a cage as the literal cage of Europe that the Arab people put the white man in 6,000 years ago. The 4th of July is the day of rejoicing of the white man over his opponents for the Western Hemisphere. He wrote his constitution for his own white people, not for his black slave. Since this is his day, which he set aside for himself, then what part, black brother, do you have in this day? Your part is not mixed with his part in the way of his own white politics and physical independence. But as I call your attention to proud King Nebuchadnezzar's history and what happened to him at the height of his kingdom, Allah never destroyed a powerful people nor deprived them of self independence when they were in trouble or when they were sick with grief. He made them to feel happy. He made them think that they would live forever. So it is with the coming of Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all praises are due forever, on his coming to us on the 4th of July, 1930. His presence meant the destruction of the independence of the white race, and especially America, over the black man. Excuse me. Allah visited the black slave, for he is more in need of help to enjoy freedom of self. And since Allah came for the purpose of bringing self independence to the black slave, then his going forth is with justice. To show Allah's greatness and power over the slave master and his people now, Allah attacks them at the height of their civilization and at the greatness of their power and strength on the 4th of July, while they worship their greatness of their accomplishment, and the black slave is sitting at his feet. As it was with Nebuchadnezzar and as it was with Pharaoh, the same is being repeated today. This is the significance of Allah's coming on the 4th of July. For 400 years, we have been suffering under the pangs of servitude, slavery, and the relentlessly merciless hands of the white slave master over us. Allah came to give justice and freedom to us and to make us equal members in the society of the new powerful, strong, and wise people of the earth. Ever since that day, the 4th of July 1930 has meant the doom of American domination over the black man of America and the black people of the earth. Let me read that again. Ever since that day, the 4th of July 1930 has meant the doom of American domination over the black man of America and the black people of the earth. Ever since that day, America has been falling. America's fall is not imminent, it is now going on. America refused to break her fall when she could have broken her fall, as the Bible teaches us. Babylon could have been healed, but she was not. She did not do anything to warrant such forgiveness. America has been offered the chance for forgiveness, but she refused to accept it, for she never offered to do anything favorable toward her black slave that would make them free of her power to rule them. Black slaves went to their death fighting the enemy of the white slave master to help America to maintain her independence against foreign dominance. The black slave was not given anything in exchange for her sacrifice. When a dog hunts for a hunter, the hunter, who is the master, will sometimes share part of the game with the dog. The black slave has helped his master to overcome and to put other peoples under the control of his white slave master. The black slave has fought, bled, and died around the earth to help the white slave master to conquer those whom the master calls his enemies. We helped the white man to conquer Cuba and to overcome and subdue Mexico and the Philippine Islands and other places around the world, and also Japan. How many lives did the black man lose in the Pacific while helping the white man to conquer the people of Japan, who are the brown half brother of the black man? The brown race and the yellow race are the half brother of the black man. Whose independence? Now, the white man and the black man are both free on this day. The coming of Allah on this day means the freedom of the black man too. The clear significance of Allah's coming on this day shows the great wisdom of Allah. Everywhere the white man may be, even in Europe, the earth belongs to the black man. Let us rejoice on this day, the 4th of July, in the coming of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom our praises are due forever, and give thanks to him. Let us enjoy the independence he brought to us and the freedom, justice, and equality. He brought these things to us not by killing off the red Indian nor any original settlers. Justice and righteousness are the ammunition used by Allah.
Mm, interesting, interesting. You know, the one of the things that really stood out to me, um, the messenger was saying that we worship July 4th. And it was interesting to hear him use that word because we know worship means the feeling or expression of reverence, adoration for a deity. And he said that we worship the 4th of July. We worship, we have adoration for America's Independence Day that did not include us, but yet we fought in every war. We fought and were the instrument that helped him to win the war with Great Britain that enabled them to be free. Yet we weren't free. After the war was over, they sent our ass back to the plantation. Even the ones who were working as spies in the Union Army, they had to go back to the plantation and become slaves all over again. This shows us that even to this very day, when we're dealing with them, as he talked about the Constitution not being something for us, they didn't write it with us in mind, but yet we still worship all of America's so-called holidays. And we definitely need to pull back and pull away from that and truly accept our own and be ourselves. And when he said July 4th, 1930 was the doom of America, the doom of white people, because that was our Independence Day that Master Farad Muhammad came to deliver us, to give us freedom, justice, equality, and independence, is truly a beautiful thing. It really is. But we have to accept our own and be ourselves so that we can honestly, truly enjoy what that represents. And I rest.
And so I thought you would be interested in looking at this economically,
Okay.
looking at the 4th of July from an economic perspective. You can let me know when you see my screen.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, so this is I got this from an art, I think it's a magazine, but it's definitely a website, and it's called Invention Land Education. And this, they were talking about the economic impact of the 4th of July. And it reads, the 4th of July is a significant economic event fueled by innovation in various sectors. The holiday the holiday boosts the economy through travel, retail, and entertainment. Innovations in transportation make it easier for families to travel, whether by car, plane, or electric vehicle. The hospitality and tourism industries, supported by online booking platforms and sharing economy services like Airbnb, see a surge in business as people plan vacations and gatherings. Retailers benefit from advances in e commerce, offering sales and promotions that attract consumers. Technology has revolutionized how people shop, with many opting to purchase decorations, apparel, and party supplies online. Innovations in food technology also play a role, with new grilling gadgets, recipes, and food delivery services enhancing the traditional 4th of July barbecue experience. Now, the next thing I found was from Capital One Shopping, some 4th of July shopping statistics. And this was from May 20th, 2024. The highlights of this article says Americans spent an estimated 15.8 billion for the
Mm.
4th of July in 2023. Consumers spent a total of 9.5 billion on food, 4 billion on alcohol, mostly beer. Americans spend over 2 billion in fireworks. Of the 291.4 million Americans who celebrated, 94% shopped in preparation for 4th of July. And it says the cost of a cookout decreased 2.8%, but it says a little over 60% of Americans plan to purchase food. And it says 35% plan to purchase alcohol. So, what truly is the significance of this day?
Mm.
Because it's really just a party, like a little what? A little holiday barbecue celebration.
Exactly. Hmm. Yeah. I didn't know it. People spent that kind of money on the fourth, but good Lord, wow, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Billions.
Hmm.
Over $15 billion. And I saw this picture online, which is extremely embarrassing, and it makes us look foolish. But
Mm.
when I think of a lot of the immigrants that come to this country, they are so quick to, especially Hispanic people, they so quick to assimilate to American culture, because I live around a lot of Hispanics. And when it comes to our history and our situation, our struggle, they really don't give a damn about the history of this country other than to pass the citizenship test. But when it comes to the holidays, they love to celebrate. They love Christmas. They love the 4th of July. They love Halloween. They love Easter. And that's part of why America loves embracing people, especially the white people and Hispanics who are still white, because when they come here, they assimilate and they pour billions of dollars into the economy celebrating their holidays
Mm.
that we never benefited from.
Hmm. Mm. Mm. Mm.
And look at this lady here. And this is what happened. And this is the curse of the black woman. She's continuously passing down the
Mm.
holidays and religion to children.
Exactly.
This little boy, he's gone.
Hmm.
I guarantee you he a Christian.
Hmm.
A proud Christian loving, American Revolution loving Negro, because they
Mm.
get it from their parents.
Hmm.
This little boy does not know that he should not be acknowledged in this day, and this is a mental genocide. He
Mm.
just thinks it's fun and it's cute. He's out with his mom, decked down, dressed in red, white, and blue.
Hmm.
And
Exactly.
and that's why I say education starts at home. We can't let this little boy go to school and then blame the teacher.
Hmm. Mm. Mm.
Got to
Mm.
start pointing some fingers at ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. You know, when you said that, I was sitting back and thinking when I was in high school, and I was reading. I was sitting at my desk, but you know, we were reading out loud, and it was my turn to read Abraham Lincoln's speech. And I'm reading the speech, and when I got finished reading the speech, everybody was just looking at me like, "Oh wow, you actually read that like that?" Um, and the indoctrination was so critical that I could not see myself outside of the American experience. I couldn't separate myself from the American experience because I was that experience, not from the position of a slave. I didn't view it from that position. I viewed it from the position of a free man, not realizing that, hey, your people was enslaved during this time. And I think that the more that we go into that process of education and not receiving a true education when we're at home, it really does sell us more and more into the worship of white folks. It sells us more and more into the worship of white folks. It really does. Because even when I was in high school and I was in the junior ROTC program, and you know, you wear your uniform to school, every American flag you saluting with pride and all this stuff, it really does a operation on the mind. It really does.
And so you wanted to say something else?
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
And so while you were speaking, I thought about the first and second Continental Congress. Only white men were allowed to participate. No black men who were present in America. No native men or women who were present. And they did not allow their women to even, participate in politics. And then you have the first and second continental. So you got the first and second Congress, but the first and second Continental Congress. I hope I have that right. The only people that could participate was white men. And you got all these people that live in this country, but to create this nation, the only people that could, attend these meetings to discuss their freedom was white men.
Mm.
And then on top of that, when they could not agree with representation, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, the 3/5 compromise. Now let's go ahead and count the slaves for the purpose of state representation. Now all of a sudden we're important and we matter.
Mm.
This is the bullshit with white men. They only count us when they need us. Other than that, they don't give a damn about us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so clear and it's evident and it's in the history books. We just keep missing it. You cannot participate in our meetings to discuss the creation of our own nation. You cannot meet with us to discuss how we're going to be represented in Congress. You just cannot be a part of our discussions. When we come out of the discussion and we've made our decision, then we'll tell you what we have decided. Other than that, shut the hell up and get in your place.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they got for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we dress down red, white, and blue, fireworks, barbecues, alcohol, parties, celebrating, having a good time with white people. And like Elijah Muhammad said, whose independence? Because even when the hunter hunts with a dog, he'd give him some.
Exactly.
Well, what has the white slave master given us?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing.
Mm. 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 Wow. Wow.
I think the further we go, I just get more speechless and speechless.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a coworker who we were talking about the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that she was in the military, nor did I care. I didn't ask, I didn't care. I would have never guessed. And she feels that everyone, every American should pledge allegiance to the flag. And I was just sitting there listening to her like, she must not know who she talking to. We were coming out of Home Depot and I saw her, and it was some type of holiday, and she was just so proud, and with her little military background. And I said, "Excuse me, but I don't pledge allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel I need to."
Mm-hmm.
And she said, because you saw my video, and she was like, "Oh, that is so disrespectful. It is what it is, and what you gonna do about it?
Right.
Because you're not gonna change my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I would never pledge my allegiance to this country. Never."
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. And even when you even think about it, when you're pledging your allegiance to the flag, to this country, then you're pledging your all. And there's no way that any person, spiritual or religious, would pledge their allegiance to this country or to this flag or to the people that the flag represents. There's no way in the world that you can do that and remain in the quote unquote good eyesight of the original God, of the black God. There's no way in the world that you could do that because we're not permitted to pledge our all to this country or to this flag, which has given you nothing but hell every single day of your existence. And that question has to be answered. When we as parents, when your child is looking to join the military, why would you send your son, your daughter, to die for a country who is not willing to do anything for you? It's not worth it. And so to pledge your allegiance to this country, to this flag, is a sin and must be made known that.
I think I I'm not sure, but if I'm not mistaken, in Texas it's mandatory for students to pledge allegiance. Did you hear anything about that?
No, I ain't hear nothing about that because it can't be. I don't see how that can be mandatory that they pledge allegiance. Because I know my children, they never done that. And when the teacher asked them, "Why are you not pledging allegiance?" and they said it straight up, because I can't give my allegiance to a country nor a flag that has given us nothing but hell each and every day. So no, but that's something to look into to see.
I think they might be able to opt out, but there was some a few years ago. There was some buzz in Texas about students being required to do it. It's I'm looking online and it just says this is TCTA. I don't know what tcta.org. Students must recite the pledges to the United States and Texas flags once each day, followed by 1 minute of silence during which students may reflect, pray, meditate, or engage in any silent activity that is not likely to interfere with or distract another student. And it says the teacher or employee in charge must maintain silence during this period. Okay, then it says parents may excuse their children from these activities with a written request.
Mm, mm,
I wonder why is that so important in public education, baseball, basketball, and football games? What is the like? What I'm here to play football and basketball. What place does a Pledge of Allegiance have in sports with adults who are being paid to do a job?
hmm. Well, it you go over and you keep continually to say it over and over and over and over again, and it becomes to be a part of who you are. And when you're making decisions subconsciously, you're making decisions with that pledge in your mind. That's what it does, is it's to continue the indoctrination process. And so at every turn, this government has to make sure that it's continually indoctrinating the people to follow a certain set of thoughts, a certain patterns of ideas. This is where you get people saying, our astronauts, our jets, our military, our this, our that. That shows that indoctrination, because they understand that as we matriculate through life, we're going to see things that go against what quote unquote America is supposed to be about. And so while you're seeing the reality of what America is, and then you will come to some type of break. But if they can keep you in the mindset of repeating this Pledge of Allegiance, it will help you to overcome the process of seeing what's wrong and ignoring it to stay loyal to a country that doesn't want you to be a part of its country. It's a part of that mind war. That pledge is part of that mind war. That's why they want you to continue repeating it over and over and over again. I mean, just look at it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, even though you know damn well there's no liberty and justice for all. And you know damn well this country is not ruled by anything under God. But you continually keep saying this and saying this over and over and over again. It gets into your system. It's like I said on Sunday when I was in the military, before we even got to the phase of the training where we pick up the M16 and start shooting on the range and all that, before we got there, they had to condition our minds of kill, kill, kill. What makes the grass grow? Blood, blood, blood. And we would be doing hand-to-hand combat. So then when we got to the firearms training of the combat, then now you're honing in on your target even more deeper, because the mind, that set that they put in your mind to kill, 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 you want to see the blood, blood, blood. The indoctrination process is just that deep.
And you all would be saying that. Kill, yes, kill, kill. And you all would be saying blood, blood, blood.
Exactly. Yes.
My.
Yes. Yes. It will turn you. It will turn you. Look, before I got into the military, I was a nice, peaceful type of dude. Once I got introduced to that and I bought into that, it was a whole totally different scenario. Mm-hmm. Totally different scenario. And they would send us to different places. And trust and believe, my mindset during them times was, I didn't give a damn who it was that had to be killed. I don't give a damn if it was a baby with a fucking gun in his hand. I'm going to blow this goddamn baby head off. And it did not bother me. Not one bit. Not one bit. Because you're trained in a certain way. You got your battle buddies and y'all doing this and you're doing that. And they know that when you're there, you're going to do some things that's against your nature. You're going to do, they call it the fog of war. You're going to do things that are against your nature, that you would have a second thought about, you may pause about. But then that's when all the training and the indoctrination to override the moral eyesight that you have that will override the evil that they're making you do, and say, no, I don't want to do this. That's like when I became, more and more aware of what I was pledging myself in the military. That's when my first sergeant said to me, he said, you was a damn good ass soldier till you got that goddamn Islam in you. Now you ain't no fucking good.
Mm.
Because at that point now, I understood my moral obligation. I understood who they were, and I understood who I had to be. So that created conflict, and I couldn't continue in that vein. I couldn't do it. But had not knowledge come to me, I'd probably been the sergeant major of the army by now or something like that. Most definitely. Most definitely.
Let's break this down right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break this down right quick. Um Here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, so I'll just put it here. Allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
Allegiance. By definition, it says loyalty or commitment of a subordinate to a superior of loyalty or commitment of a subordinate to a superior or of an individual to a group or cause. Now look at the synonyms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just look at loyalty and what that represents.
Mm-hmm.
Like I will forsake all others
Mm-hmm.
and bind myself to you no
Mm-hmm.
matter what.
Yeah.
Faithfulness. You can count on me. I'll be
Mm-hmm.
there when you need me, right?
Yeah.
Obedience. Whatever you tell me to do, I'll
I'll do.
do it. That's some strong shit.
Exactly.
And that's why we have to be careful. Ooh, this deep right here. We have to be so careful to understand the meaning of the things that we say.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no black person in America that should ever recite this
Exactly.
under any circumstances,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
considering what has been done to us from a historical perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to before we go on to the next chapter, this right here is from African People and European Holidays, A Mental Genocide, Ashaka Musa Bear Shango. I'm still in book 1. I want to read to you about when he discusses the daughters of, it said the mothers of the American Revolution. Let me know when you can see it.
I can see it.
All right. So this is what he says. This is on page 22. Whores and harlots, mothers of the American Revolution. It cannot be denied either that deportation to America was England's favorite way of getting rid of her loose women. The first ones sent were undoubtedly this kind. Narcissus Luttrell, writing in his diary Thursday, November 17, 1692, tells of 80 such women being sent to Virginia. He mentions a ship going for Virginia in which the magistrates had ordered 50 lewd women out of the houses of correction and 30 others who walked the streets after 10 at night. Chambers mentioned another shipment of Scotch prostitutes in 1695.
Mm-hmm.
And people celebrate the Daughters of Liberty.
Mm.
This is who they come from.
Mm-hmm.
Streetwalkers, whores, and prostitutes. And the men they sent over here wasn't no better.
Mm.
And that's why we see they so evil. Because
Mm.
that's what they come from.
Exactly.
That's all they know. And I wanted to say last week, when I don't know if it was last week, but whatever week we were talking about them damn pilgrims, I forgot to say the pilgrims, remember, they were on their way to Virginia.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Those sodomites who were
Mm-hmm.
eating people,
Yep.
they were on their way to Virginia, but their ship blew off course and they ended up in what we call Massachusetts. But
Mm,
this is who came to America. This is who we want to give our allegiance to, our loyalty, adherence, and obedience to.
mm, mm, mm,
Animals, demons, devils, and like Elijah Muhammad said, rattlesnakes.
mhm, mm, mm, mm,
This is who they brought to America.
mm.
Prostitutes, whores, women who came out of the houses of correction, who used to walk the street at 10 o'clock at night.
Mm, mm, mm,
This is where we learned that behavior
mm.
from.
Exactly. Mm, 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 mm.
So I'll stop sharing unless you wanted to give some commentary on that.
No, that's just perfect. Because we can never stop defining who the enemy is. We can never stop defining who they are. We can never stop showing the light of where they came from. And going back to allegiance, one of another word that was there as a synonym was fealty. Fealty. And thinking of fealty, loyalty again, to a monarch or a ruler. And they always want us to see them as the ruler. We got to make sure that we take care of massa. That position doesn't change. It doesn't change, and no matter what job you may be at, where you're working at, they want you to remain loyal to them, regardless of how they treat you. They want you to always remain subordinate to them. And if you happen to get into a supervisor role over them, they'll look at you and treat you like, nigga, who you ain't here to tell me nothing. They fight versus submit to what is right. And this is why it is so important that we educate our own children. If you're going to send your children to them schools, you make sure you do some home teaching as well to offset the programming that they're doing there. Because they're not going to teach your children what it means to be Black, but they'll teach your children what it means to submit and serve and be a good American. They'll teach them that. And you having them be a good American, and they're not good for their own selves. We have to understand and be justified in our own freedom that we give ourselves, because they have never given us any freedom whatsoever. It all is a trick to keep you being loyal, a loyal servant to them.
No matter what they do to us,
Exactly.
no matter how many Black men you see get shot and killed,
Mm.
no, it does. They don't care.
Nope.
No matter how many times we see signs that say bilingual preferred,
Mm-hmm.
that leaves us out of many opportunities to get a job.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
No matter how many men that besides Colin Kaepernick put their job on the line to take a stand against police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give a damn.
Mm-mm. No. Nope. Nope. Not at all.
And not at all. They don't give a damn how many people still without water. Where was that, in Michigan or Detroit? Where was that, in Detroit?
That was in not Detroit, but it was in the state of Michigan. Um, I forget the city, but it wasn't Detroit.
They still, I don't think they have water still running in those houses today, do they?
I think they were working on it, but I'm not sure whether it was fixed. I'm not sure whether it was all fixed.
Because they went years
Mm-hmm.
without water,
Yep.
running water, years,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, no, this
Flint. That's what it
allegedly
was.
is not for me. I'm sorry.
That was Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
they had to replace all those pipes.
Exactly.
Literally, all the pipes underground running through the houses, they were no longer of use.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. And the one of the things that make this so terrible, the governor was right there in Flint, Michigan. They knew the water was bad. They wasn't drinking the water. They were having bottled water sent in, but they never did they tell the everyday person that lives in the city. But they made sure that them and their staff that worked in there wasn't messed up. But the poor people they didn't give a shit about.
They wouldn't even wash. It was one report that came out. One man refused to wash his Cadillac with the water because he knew it
Mm-hmm.
was toxic. But they knew that the black people was drinking it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's nasty.
Yep.
No matter how much germs and bacteria they shoot up in your ass with them syringes and syphilis tests and they don't see allegiance.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
allegiance. They don't give a damn how many highways they run through your community, how many bombs they drop on your community, how many black men, women, and children hanging from trees. They don't give a damn. They just want allegiance from the ignorant.
That's right. That's right.
And black people are outside with fireworks as if they really have something to celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to celebrate.
Nothing.
Bi-
Nothing.
$15 billion.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I wonder what percent of that comes from our community.
Exactly. Mm-mm-mm. Mm.
So we got the money.
Oh, most
We
definitely.
just don't have the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I say when it comes to religion, I don't have any patience for it because I don't have the patience to sit on Wednesday Bible study and Sunday service to hear the same thing over and over again when there's so much more information that I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of this can be taught in the church on Bible study and in different social events, but we just want to laugh and jig and have fun, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a long way to go.
Exactly.
And it's just so embarrassing to me when I see it. And people really do get offended. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for those of us who do not pledge, who do not participate. It was something that happened on my job today before we get into the next chapter. I
Mm-hmm.
was like damn near gagging because I said, this is some slave mentality bullshit. I don't want to be, I'll tell you, what it is, when we hang up, but I said, this is some slave mentality bullshit. Just please leave me out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody looked at me like I was crazy. And I found myself being disgusted with them. And they were majority women.
Mm.
Because y'all keep letting this white man tell y'all what the fuck to do.
Mm.
If he say do it, y'all do it. If he say I want this, you go buy it. If he says I want y'all to do this and that, y'all go oblige this white man. And
Mm.
what he wanted today, I know he chose my department just to see what I was going to do because I've already refused it 3 different times.
Mm.
And I refused it again today, number 4. I
Mm.
knew he was coming for me. Out of all the goddamn departments on that job, you choose mine to do something, to buy some shit for your secretaries. You got me fucked up. I ain't buy shit. I don't owe them hoes nothing.
Exactly.
And I meant that.
Mm-hmm.
That's your fucking secretary, not mine. You don't fucking tell me what to buy for your goddamn secretary.
Mm, mm, mm.
So out of everybody in the fucking building, you choose my department. And I ain't, cause I know he was pinpointing me to see what the fuck I was gonna do. Cause I didn't do it the last 3 times and I didn't do it today. Fuck them. I don't owe them shit. I go to work to get my paycheck. I don't go for friendship. I don't go for none of that shit. I do not jump when that white man say how high. I don't do it. And I don't give a fuck how he feel about it.
I know that's
A slave goddamn mentality.
right. Exactly.
Now make me go in my pocket and spend money. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you make me go in my pocket and spend some money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living for that moment. I want to see it
Exactly.
because it's not going to go good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I say every time this white man tell y'all he wants something, y'all stupid ass go do it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't never say, excuse me, how dare you ask me to do that? What makes you so comfortable that you could tell me to do something or even ask me to do it? Who are you? I don't owe you shit. Yeah, you my supervisor, but you got me fucked up. I'm grown. And
Exactly.
you don't tell me what to do with my money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I have to remain silent because I know what I bring.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm going to bring if they even ask me why I don't want to participate. I know I'm going to say something that's going to rock their world because they're not expecting it. They're expecting me to oblige them and go along and get along and just do what he wants me to do. And I cannot because that is a slave mentality.
That's right.
And if you free, period. It ain't no in between.
Mm-mm. Nope.
No, there's no in between.
Mm-mm.
And I don't give a damn if there's a position that come available that he don't choose me for because I say no.
Mm-hmm.
My blessings don't come from him.
Exactly.
My blessings come from God, and that's it.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's how we gotta be. That's how we gotta be. And that's why they look for the strong ones to try to make an example out of. Because if people start seeing she ain't gonna fall for that, he ain't gonna fall for that, he ain't gonna, she ain't, then they'll learn to stand up as well. They'll learn and see what strength looks like. What does it really mean to be free? See, a lot of our people don't even understand what that means. They'll look at you and say, "Oh, you just being rebellious. You just being rebellious. You just don't want to follow the line. You just don't want to fit in. You want to be on the outside when you need to be on the inside." Because those are the ones that are still under the spell. Those are the ones that still want to say, "Yes, Amasa." The syphilis, the Tuskegee experiment lasted 40 years. And them, the black nurses, the black people that knew what was going on, knew the people that was being infected, but their loyalty was to their massa and no loyalty to themselves or their people. For 40 years, they did that. See, if that nurse, if those nurses in there, if they had what you have, if they had your spirit, your understanding, your conviction, that stuff would have never have happened. It would never have happened. And they wouldn't have gave a damn no matter who say, well, you're not loyal. You're not one for the team. No, I'm not here to be a part of that team. This is why we need more and more of our brothers and sisters to be like us.
Okay. You always be reminding me something. Look at this shit right here. Look at this shit right here. This is from my family. This is somebody in my family from Um, he was shit. I forgot. He was 53 years old.
Mm-hmm.
His name was William Humbert, and this is his death certificate. If you look straight here, if you look here, you will see he
Mm-hmm.
died of syphilis.
Mm. Mm.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
1917.
Mm.
That's one of my
Mm.
ancestors who was a part of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Syphilis.
Mm.
And
Mm.
do you know white men had syphilis? Black men ain't had that shit.
Mm.
White men had syphilis. When I did my research on the Tuskegee syphilis experiment,
Mm.
they infected black men to see how it affected their bodies. They already knew what it was doing to white men. So they infected black men to see what effect it would have on them.
Mm.
I've
Wow.
never heard anybody mention that.
Wow. Me
Never.
either. Me. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yes. Let me tell you
Wow.
something. When I was coming into my consciousness, let me tell you something. The notes I threw away will blow your mind. I wish I still had my notes when I came out of Christianity and I was just going up, 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 up in my consciousness. I put in probably 10, 15 hours a day of research. Some of the shit I know, and I still remember a lot of it. They
Mm.
wanted to see the effects of syphilis in our black bodies.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And
Mm.
this is one of my ancestors in 1917. And
Wow.
it's right here on his death certificate. I'm not far removed from this shit of these white
No.
people.
Mm-mm.
I am not, we are not far removed.
Nope. Not at all. Not at all. Mm.
A
Mm.
wife. What I wonder about his wife. I wonder about his children. I
Mm.
wonder about like what was going on inside of their bodies when he succumbed to this shit. And how many people did he infect? How many babies were born with
Mm.
complications as a result of what these white people did to our black men and
Mm.
women and children?
Mm. 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 Wow.
Scientific, what they call it, biochemical warfare.
That's right. Yep.
I got some shit on that one day that's gonna blow your mind.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I be reading all kind of shit. I be reading all kind of shit. It's crazy what these people have
Mm.
and what they have the capacity to do to us, what they're still doing to us. I remember my cousin who had one of the worst cases of AIDS in the history of the disease itself. His doctors told me that. I was
Mm.
devastated when my cousin died. And um my doctor at the time, he was a white man, and I never forget, I because I had an appointment and I was just sobbing, I was crying, I was so upset that my cousin died. he
Right.
said you know he said you know um this, he said that disease was he said white men had the disease. He said white affluent men were affected with AIDS initially.
Mm.
And he said many of them were, not only were they of white men, but they were very affluent and they were doctors because they didn't understand the virus. So what they did an experiment, and their white wives, they were told, okay, your husband got HIV, and they still engaged them sexually. They were still having intercourse, and the women were not getting infected.
Mm.
Ain't that something?
That is.
Now
That
you
is.
studying HIV, you an affluent white doctor, you infected with that shit. You tell your wife, she stays with you, she engages you into with having sex with you, but she's not getting infected
Mm.
because they passing that shit on through anal sex. So
Mm.
they will, one thing the white man will do, he will experiment.
Oh, most definitely.
And he will use us to be a part of those experiments.
Hmm.
We got to be so careful.
Very.
We got to be so careful with what they introduce to us. When they come to us with their Bibles, when they come to us offering us help, especially medical assistance, that's extremely dangerous.
Hmm.
Because they know the how shit wrapped through their body. But
Mm.
they experiment on us to try to find out how it affects us.
Exactly.
Because the same crackers that was killing our brothers and sisters, you showed up to remember they were talking about with the experiment, they was checking their blood and some shit.
Hmm.
Motherfucker, I ain't even got a place to stay, food to eat. Well, you won't even let me get a goddamn job. Jim Crow, segregation, all kind of shit. But you want to check my blood?
Yeah.
Fuck is you talking about?
Hmm.
And we just stand there and put our arm out and shit and let them take the blood. Man, look, I be
Mm.
slamming my door in their goddamn face when they knock on my door.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
nothing I want from you.
Mm.
Nothing. Knock on my door. Oh, I'm selling steak. I don't eat it. Oh, I'm selling shrimp. I don't eat it.
Hmm.
I don't eat nothing. I don't give a fuck what they. I don't want it.
Mm.
None of it.
Mm.
Because they dangerous
Exactly.
and they can't be trusted.
Mm. Never be trusted.
Yeah, I just wanted to show you that because you reminded me that, and I have this in my records. One of my cousins, whoever this in my family, one of my ancestors was affected by that Tuskegee syphilis experiment.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Did you find out whether or not he got compensated from there?
No, mm-mm.
Mm. Wow.
I mean, he was dead. He died in 1917.
Mm.
The people got compensated.
Hmm.
People
Yeah.
who were still alive.
Yeah. They're family members. Some of
Shit.
them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Was it a lot of money?
That part I don't know. I don't know whether it was. I don't think it was. Because I know everybody didn't get compensated. Everybody didn't get it.
Mm. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
you ready? 17.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, chapter 17, independence. Independence means to be free from the dominance of others. It is a very happy feeling for one to enjoy self freedom. The white race in the Western Hemisphere takes this day, July 4th, it's a 1972. Does he mean 1972?
I don't think so. I
Don't
think
he mean 1776?
exactly. So that had to be a typo.
The white race in the Western Hemisphere takes this day, July 4th, I'm just going to say 1776, to be a day to worship in remembrance of their achieving independence from other people. The white race in the Western Hemisphere had to conquer the Indians who had an independent claim on the country called America. Then the white race in America cut off the tie of England and France and became the independent holder of the present country called America in the Western Hemisphere. The white race was not satisfied with owning a new country to itself. They wanted they wanted the country built up, but the white man was afraid to trust himself to build the country up. So he goes to other countries that were civilized and uncivilized Africa. From Africa, he took our black people as slaves and used us for hard labor purposes. Now, the white race has achieved those desires, and now he has the glorious thing that man can enjoy freedom. The country of America cannot be said to be the white man's own. But with having the freedom and the power to overcome the natives of this country, the white race in America takes this day, July 4th, to celebrate the joy of independence of others. As thou hast done, so shall it be done unto thee. Someone is about to take away your enjoyable independence. The white race here in America has done the worst to the black people who helped the white man to build up the country of America and to make it suitable and to bring in this enjoyable independence. But the white race in America has angered God due to the evil done to us after our 400 years here under the white race. The white race still desires to mistreat and to kill us all day long. The white man hates his black slave, while the black slave should be hating the white man for mistreating the black slave. But the white man made the black slave to love him so well that when the white man mistreats him, the black slave will not dislike the white man for mistreating him. Now the time of God has arrived. The time of Allah must separate the black slave and his white master and bring freedom to the black slave. So we see the power of our enemy being broken by God in destroying the power of the white man, power to maintain his sway over the whole world. Independence is fine if we keep and maintain independence, but there is a dark cloud of trouble now swinging over the country of America. The dark cloud takes her once freedom of thought and action, become instead a freedom of death, hell, and destruction. It is awful to think over the things of evil and of trouble that are coming upon the glorified America. The poor black slave, numbering now into tens of millions of black people, never knew anything of the joy of freedom because the vicious enemy, like a young lion, as Daniel gives it in the Bible, has made the black slave a prey to all of the white man's wicked desires. Now, what do we have to celebrate in the fact that the white man is enjoying freedom over us? In celebrating the white man's independence, we make a fool out of ourselves. We cannot celebrate his day. The only time that we, the black people, have a day to worship and are able to call a day our day of freedom is when we are free from white America and free from any other nation and become independent with some of this earth that we can call our own. Then we can say that this is a freedom day and a holiday for us. Black sister, black brothers, let us unite and get together and try and go from that which binds us to others.
Mm. Wow.
He says a fool.
A fool.
We make a fool out of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
He said we cannot celebrate the day that our slave masters won their independence. George Washington told his slaves, let me see if you are aware of this part of history. George Washington had the unmitigated audacity to tell his slaves, "Oh, I'll free you." He said, "When I die, I'm gonna give you to my wife, right?
Mm.
When my wife die, then she'll free you." Can
Mm.
you imagine being a slave of George Washington with him telling you when he die, he gonna give you to his wife, and then when she die, then you'll get your freedom. So you walking around every day waiting for that bitch to die.
Right. Exactly.
You waiting for this bitch to die.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Every day you wake up, you waiting for this bitch to take her last fucking breath.
Mm. 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 Mm.
And when Thomas Jefferson died, they told Sally Hemings, pack your shit and get the fuck on out of here. Send
Really?
her ass on down the hill walking after all them damn kids she had from that man. And she was asking her, bedroom talk. You gonna free these children of ours? He said, hell no.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Hell no. So what do you do when you know this man and she was a child?
She was? I didn't know that.
Look up how old Sally Hemings was. She was a child. He was having
Mm,
sex with Sally when she was a child. If I'm not mistaken, she was in her teens. And she was traveling abroad with Thomas Jefferson. And she had all them damn kids from him. So what do you do? Just turn over and cry? When
mm,
you ask this man that's between your legs to free your children and he say no?
mm, mm. Mm.
The dis they so disgusting.
Very, very disgusting.
And what this is what we celebrating. And then after the war, after independence, we still slaves. For another what? 100 and how many years?
Mm-hmm.
Damn near 100, maybe in 20.
Yeah. Mm. And do you know that the uh, Thomas Jefferson, they all get together and they have a family reunion every so many years. The whites and the slaves.
I saw that.
Ain't that some shit?
I saw that. Because they were first denying it
Mm-hmm.
until they took the DNA samples.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have a book on Thomas Jefferson. It's called The Art of War.
Mm.
It's a really good book. I'm gonna try to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I read that book, I for some reason I know it sounds crazy, but my body leaves and I feel like I'm being placed inside of the 1700s. I go into, I could smell the wood. I can smell the parlors. I can smell the forest. I can see the darkness inside of their homes. It is an amazing experience when I read that book. It's The Art of War. It's a biography. And he was a real piece of work.
Mm.
That he was a real piece of work. He
Wow.
was engaged, he was perverted.
Mm.
Yeah, he was sexually perverted. Because I mean, what was stopping white men from engaging in any woman sexually that was available to them, especially a slave?
Yeah,
You
nothing
what
was.
Nothing was gonna stop them from having sex with a slave.
Nope. Mm.
You couldn't say no.
Exactly.
You go
Exactly.
traveling. Oh, you go traveling to your cousin, your uncle, your friends. Oh, and they have a slave waiting for you in the bed, butt naked, waiting for you. Pick your choice.
Mm.
You know how disgusting, like
Mm.
that is some disgusting shit.
It is.
To be constantly violated by these animals.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is kind of explicit. Have you ever heard of something called ghetto gaggers?
Ghetto gaggers?
Yeah,
No. Mm-mm.
it is black women that do porn
Mm-hmm.
and they allow white men to have sex with them and they perform fellatio on the white men who are gagging them till they throw up.
Oh my God.
When I first saw it, I thought the black women was being sexually assaulted, and I started screaming, and I was damn near finna get on the phone and call the police because
Mm.
somebody showed it to me, and I thought that they were being sex trafficked and raped. I got up running, screaming, and trying to get the phone to call 911. My friends was falling out laughing. But I didn't see nothing funny about that because I really thought that they were being assaulted. It turns out that they were doing porn and there was a group of white men surrounding them and they were, like I say, performing fellatio and they were gagging those black women until they threw up.
Oh my
Where
God.
the fuck where we fuck our women learn that from?
Exactly.
And they call them ghetto gaggers.
Wow. Wow. Mm.
There's no way we was doing that in Africa or
No,
America.
No. Mm-mm. No. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. How in the hell you gonna have sex with somebody and they throwing up? Mm. Wow.
So, any commentary on 17?
Mm. It's just I think understanding what independence means to us, what it means to be free. And I think, back on one of our earlier programs, and I was saying that we don't know what it really means to be free. We haven't lived life like that yet. We haven't lived an independent life yet. But that should be something that we're always striving to do. We cannot take that and just say it is what it is. We want to know what independence means. We want to know what freedom really means. We want to see, we want to meet that reality for ourselves. And in order to do that, you first must define who you are and what you are, and then go about living that type of life. And then when the moment of expectation comes, the moment when your independence, your freedom comes up against that enemy who desire it is to take your freedom, to take your independence, what are you going to do? Are you going to punk out, or are you going to fight that revolution? See, this is what we have to understand. One of the reasons that these crackers are going and redoing, making sure this not taught in history, making sure that's not taught in history, closing museums down, because Trump said it's unfair. It doesn't paint a good picture, because he know that it's going to be your children that's going to have to deal with the weight of what was done. And they know that the answer to what was done is death. So they don't want their children to have to pay for that. But I believe it was Thomas Jefferson who says, when I reflect, I tremble for my country, because I know God is just and his justice cannot sleep forever. See, he didn't say, I tremble for me, because he knew he wasn't going to live forever.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew America would be here. He knew the children of theirs would be here, and they going to pay that price. And they going to pay that price. Now we have to understand and declare our own freedom, our own independence. And then you got to get up and be ready to go to war over it. Because here the crackers say, nigga, I didn't make you free. You ain't free to live beyond the scope that I defined for you. And that's why you cannot allow them to define for you your terms. You cannot allow for them to define for you your education. Because he who defines for you your education prescribes for you the circumference of your activity. He knows what you'll be able to do because he taught you. And they will always look to limit you. Teaching starts at home. Don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget that. And I rest.
This is a quick paragraph from a book called The Unspoken Truth of Our Racial Divide, White Rage by Carol Anderson. And she says on page 7, in 1861, the day of reckoning came. The Southern states' determination to establish their independent slave republic led to 4 years of war. 1.5 million casualties, including at least 620,000 deaths, and 20% of Southern white males wiped off the face of the earth.
Mm, mm. Wow. Mm, mm, mm.
That's why they're so hard, because they know that they're very barbaric. It's in their nature. That's all they know. They
Mhm,
also know, like you continue to tell us, that their numbers are decreasing.
mhm,
So between them not being able to reproduce quickly, between the fact that they're so barbaric and they're keeping up these wars and the walls are closing in on us, that's why they have to go back to the drawing board and come up with some more black codes to subdue us because of their evil that we ain't got nothing to do with.
mhm,
Let's find a way to keep our foot on the black man's neck, because if we go down, they going down with us.
mm,
Because I believe that's exactly what's going to happen. Because
mhm.
they're going to war. And
Ex-
we're not the type of people to just sit aside and watch them fight and die. Because there will be casualties.
mhm.
But before they just go ahead and take their resting place, wherever that might be, I was looking at a chemical attack that took place in Syria. Did you see that chemical attack? I think it's called Gauta.
This was recent.
No, this wasn't recent. This was some years ago. It was one of the Syrian presidents. And
Mhm,
those Syrians, they look really European.
mhm.
I was very shocked to see how the Syrian leadership, how European they look. If I showed you or showed the audience, or just people in general, some Syrian people who are in power and control, they'll say, "Girl, that's a cracker." Same skin, eyes, hair, everything. And the president, he ordered a chemical attack, dead bodies everywhere. And I said to myself, this is what they have the capacity to do to us. Infants, toddlers, children, teenagers, men, women, bodies everywhere, dead.
Mm,
Trust and believe the United States of America has those weapons in store, because they're not going down alone.
exactly.
They not. And that's scary.
Mhm. That is truth.
So no, we don't know freedom. And I just wanted to go back here to what the master teacher said in paragraph 13 of chapter 17. He said the poor black slave, numbering now into tens of millions of black people, they never knew anything of the joy of freedom, because the vicious enemy,
Mm,
he calls our enemy the vicious enemy, like a young lion. Look up that word vicious. Like a young lion, as Daniel gives it in the Bible, has made the black slave a prey to all of the white man's wicked desires.
mm,
The white man has desires that's wicked, and we are prey to that. We fall prey to the desires of the wicked white man over and over and over again.
mhm. Mm, 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 mm.
The objective is to find out, how do we not become prey to these people? Because we already on the table.
Exactly.
How do we save ourselves?
We're going to save ourselves through war. We will save ourselves through war. We have to have that separation, that mental separation, that physical separation, and then there comes the war, because it's going to come. And this is one thing ever since I've been doing videos, it's been telling our people that it's coming. You're gonna have to kill some crackers. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. But the thing that gets me is that we'll have the gun, but scared to pull the trigger when it comes to them. Scared to pull the trigger when it comes to them. We'll shoot each other without a heartbeat. But when it comes to shooting them, and that becomes a problem. And even looking at the word vicious, meaning deliberately cruel,
Mm,
violent,
damn.
deliberately cruel or violent. It ain't an accident. It's on purpose that they're being just that cruel and just that violent because that's what they love to do. That's what they look to do at each and every turn. So there's no good morality, and there's no good moral words that you're going to say to defeat a beast like that. There ain't
Damn.
nothing that you can say, but it's going to be something you got to do. It's something you got to do. And that's the reality of that. And you better be getting your minds prepared now for what's coming because blood going to flow. Blood is going to flow. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. The question is, are you going to shed the blood? Or is it going to be just your blood running out there in the streets? Are you ready to submit your babies to that kind of devil that don't give a damn how young your children are? Don't give a damn how old our elderly people are. But that thirst, that bloodlust, they feel as though it's going to be an easy time. We're going to get rid of these niggas. That's what they think. But that ain't going to happen. They keep saying they want war. They keep saying they want war. But they really don't want that. Not when that comes. They really don't want it. But we're going to give them everything that they ask for. We're going to give them everything that they've earned. They're going to get it. You reap what you sow. You ain't going to get away with it. And that's the real deal. So we better be getting ready. We better be getting ready.
That's deep. Deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
Just because.
Yep.
You know what you reminded me of? When the white baby would breastfeed from the breast of the black slave.
Mm.
And so the white baby sitting there sucking the milk out the black slave mother while the black child is sitting over there in the corner malnourished. They say our children suffered because that white baby was going to get that milk first. Do you know a lot of white women can't they don't lactate?
Really?
A lot of white women, to my understanding from somebody that I know that has a holistic business, a lot, and she's black and she have a lot of white customers. She said a lot of white women email her because they don't lactate.
Wow.
And black women, generally, we don't have no problem doing that. We be overflowing. And I was reading, and like in slavery time, they would let the white baby suck from the black slave, and the damn black child just sitting over there in the corner and had to wait. You ever saw those pictures?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw one picture of this big black woman and had that white baby on her breast.
while your baby over there crying and hungry and malnourished and probably emaciated, screaming and crying. You sitting there holding a damn white baby that's gonna be your damn slave master to probably grow up and beat your damn child, hang
Mm,
your child upside down and beat them, and you giving them the nourishment of life.
mm, mm.
I'd rather die.
Exactly.
I'd rather die than be a slave. I'll take death. I'll
Mm,
take them. There
mm,
was a lady I saw on video. She had all these damn babies. The slave master was breeding her, and she had a condition of her heart because like I said, they had done. He's every time the baby get one, he'll sell the babies,
mm,
and so after a while, she just started killing, poisoning her own babies. She,
mm,
yeah, she would just rather poison them than allow the slave master to sell them. And Sojourner Truth's mother spent a lot of time crying as well for her children that had been sold.
mm,
That's in the Sojourner Truth narratives. Her mother was overwhelmed and burdened down with sorrow because of her children that were being sold. And I honestly cannot imagine that because many of our children were torn from the breasts of their mothers.
mm,
I can't imagine what that feels like.
mm, mm, mm,
And then you got to get up and go to work.
mm. Ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Yeah.
You breastfeeding them damn crackers, getting them strong to call you a nigga. Getting them
Hmm.
strong so that they can hang you from a fucking tree. Getting them strong so they can abuse you, rape you. Mm, mm, mm.
The horrors see, I don't think that when it comes to like at what age should our child be introduced to this information? As soon as possible. That's my answer.
Exactly. In the womb. You hear me? In the womb. I was teaching my babies in the womb. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. 'Cause I wanted them to understand where they coming into. Mm-mm-mm.
Hmm. I'm gonna definitely remember paragraph 13, vicious enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to, like I was just thinking, ever since we've been reading this book, there's some vocabulary that we need to make a part of our, our daily conversation.
Exactly.
Stool pigeon,
Mm-hmm.
sycophant,
Mm-hmm.
rattlesnake,
Mm-hmm.
vicious enemy.
Yeah.
Very strong words,
Mm-hmm.
but needed and necessary to bring attention to who we are dealing with.
Exactly.
So we have a full understanding that, mama, why they do it?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's in their nature.
That's right.
They do it just because. You
Mm-hmm.
have to know you can't be around those people because they just do what they do. And they don't have a reason. They just do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how they are.
Yep. Yep.
That's deep.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm.
We on 18?
Yes, ma'am. We're on 18.
Slavery in Alabama and Mississippi. I got some family that goes back to Alabama. I found their information from the 1840s.
Mm.
I'm trying to go deeper with that, but
Mm-hmm.
what I found is that the United States government, they release information. I think it was every 75 years.
Mm.
I don't know if it was 50 or 75, but once you start doing like research and genealogy and you start looking on ancestry.com, family search and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of information that you may not find because there's a time limit where they release it.
Mm.
And I always go back periodically, like every 6 months to every year. And every time I do it, I find information that was not there before.
Mm.
So I'm able to, connect the dots and find information about my family and what happened to them. And I found cemeteries in Georgia that I plan to visit over the summer to see if they built any houses over that cemetery, because when I look on satellite, is nothing there.
Mm.
So I want to go and see, can I go through some of that land and find some of the cemeteries of the people in my family. But
Mm.
so if anybody out there is doing a family search, understand you just have to go back periodically, because they release information in spans of time, because they don't want us to know a lot. Little by little by little by little. That's a part of their plot and scheme to control the information so that we stay asleep and not knowing who we are or where we come from.
Mhm.
So the white man's technology is always being trumpeted to the world that they are peace lovers, as though they want all people, as they falsely claim, to be free and to live in peace, while they are sitting on and crushing between 20 and 30 million black people in America who were their servitude slaves 100 years ago. Now, for 100 years, the slave masters' children falsely claim that we are free and that they are trying to treat us as free people. It has come to me that in the state of Alabama, in Greene County, Alabama, there are big plantations owned by white people, and their stately white houses sit up on hills, and the slaves live in a surrounding of shacks. These black people work hard for very small pay. It is said by some that the salaries range from 25 cents a day to $2.50 a week. Rough clothes to work in are furnished to them. Let me say it again. Rough clothes to work are, hold on. Work, what did it say? Rough clothes to work in are furnished to them.
Mhm.
This kind of slave labor goes through the generations. One generation after another is subjected to this slave way of life and what is called a free world. In order to keep these black people in this type of slavery, the owner has a mounted guard patrolling the plantation with a gun lying across his lap in the saddle on his horse to see that there is no black interference from the outside to entice the enslaved blacks on the inside of his plantation to come in a better area for better wages. Did you hear about the it was somebody, I think it was in the 70s, in the 1970s, who was still enslaved in the South? Did you ever hear that story?
No. Uh-uh.
Yeah, I think it was some time ago. I saw this story about this lady who was a slave, and the damn people had no clue that slavery ended.
In the 70s?
I think it was in the 70s, yeah. I saw that. I saw that a long time ago. I mean, this shit ain't too far fetched, especially what Elijah Muhammad said. He
Mm.
was hearing in his time. In his time, he just said it. It has come to me in the state of Alabama. You got some big plantations owned by white people, stately houses up on the hill, but you got slaves that's living in shacks and they're working for peanuts.
Mm. Mm.
This ain't too far fetched.
Mm.
And he says these people grow up there, die there on the plantation. Some of them never know civilization. They are satisfied because they know no other life but the slave life that their fathers and grandfathers have been living under. We hear this kind of slavery goes on not only in Greene County, Alabama, but in other states such as what? Mississippi and Georgia.
Mm.
Years ago, what? Go ahead.
No, no, I'm listening to what you're saying.
Years ago, when I was a young man in Georgia, I heard that such slavery on large plantations was going on in certain areas in Georgia. Our people will go to a farm there, and the poor man probably owes another white man, and this white farmer pays the debt that he owes to the other white farmer, and then the black man becomes the slave of the balance of his and his family's life on the plantation of this white man who paid the debt to a previous white plantation owners. As long as he lives, he never pays that debt. This is the worst injustice and the most cruel slavery of all. That's why he started out saying technology.
mm,
They
mm,
were still enslaving people up into Elijah Muhammad's time, based upon what this man is saying. And I believe it. I really do, because I've heard stories like this. And so he says they are shot and killed or beaten to death if they are found trying to leave the plantation. The white owners make other blacks of the same plantation under fear be their informers of what is said and planned by other blacks. It has been told to me in my younger life that certain rivers, lakes, and wooded wilderness like places carry the bones and skulls of many black slaves from these plantations in so-called freedom times and in the age of abolished slavery by the law of this government and the world. But in
mm,
these southern states where Mr. George Wallace was running for president, he could make every black man and woman in the South vote for him under fear. These black people are afraid to disobey white people in high offices, or even an old white farmer who is hardly able to buy himself a new overall suit. The black people in the South have been brought up for many years and for centuries to fear white people. Where there is no freedom or chance to get out among free people, these black people become the most ignorant and most terrified people of whites that there are in the country of America. And the white man knows this. He gets rich. He builds himself a fine, luxurious home on the plantation. And as far as he can see, he claims that the land is his, and the poor slaves are living in the worst of shacks. When the rains come, some of them have to go to the walls of their houses with pails to catch the rain coming through their almost open roofs. When
mm,
winter comes, they are sitting, when winter comes, they are sitting up to their fireplaces trying to keep warm. These are the worst living conditions of human beings that could even be in the jungles of Africa, where they do not have sawmills or brick kilns to saw timber into lumber and to mold bricks. America has everything necessary to make her slaves good, warm houses, cool homes, and to give her slaves a good living wage, because our fathers for 400 years have already supplied the wealth for us today to be given food, substantial wages for our necessities of life. It is pitiful to go in these southern areas, out in the rural districts, and see how, after 400 years, the wicked, sunburned, keen nosed, tobacco juice mouth, and blue eyed devils are buckling our people down to such slavery conditions, crushing them to death and diseasing them. Their children are coming up suffering from malnutrition, fever, and other diseases. Capture them and take them to their crude pine box graves or to a hole in the ground in the South without anything like honor of their death. They are buried in rough pine wooden boxes.
mm,
The black man of America is so mistreated by his 400-year-old slave master and his slave masters, his children. See that?
yeah.
You mistreated by the slave master and the slave master's children, that you cannot describe any other mistreatment of human beings to equal the evil and ill treatment that the black man has and still suffers in America. In many towns and cities of the southern states, even in their capitals, you will find the black man living in a very bad condition. His toilet is sometimes an open, boarded up place, stinking right there in the city and diseasing the citizens because of all that evil demon, the white man who wants to give all the ill he can to a people who have served him as slaves for 400 years. And this is going on in the South. Go
Mm,
see it yourself. The United States mail comes into these towns and cities, and in some places, the black people are forced to walk to a drugstore and ask a white drugstore owner for their mail. Then they are treated like dogs, and as though the white devils are giving him something free, while the senders of the mail have paid tax for postal carriers to bring it to their door.
Mm, mm, mm,
Little black children walking around with sores, pus running out of them for the lack of medical attention. Little black children are dying of diseases right in the false freedom of the USA. The black people are cowered down by this vicious enemy who keeps his gun loaded to blow them down. And every happy, one sided, grinning mouth policeman or sheriff is seeking just the slightest chance to kill a Negro. He only has to say to his brother devil judge that he had to kill a Negro. And the judge looks at him and gives him a big smile and a hand clasp as though he did not kill enough. You ought to kill all of them. I
mm,
have heard from their mouth, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I have heard from their mouths when I lived in the South that there were too many Negroes in the South and the white people should kill off some of them. There
mm,
are more Negroes than whites, and the white man should kill off some of these Negroes. What chance does the black man have under the shadow of the American government for freedom, justice, and equality? I thank Allah in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to all praises due forever, who has come to deliver the black man in America and to kill our oppressors. This is very good. And we should be shouting day and night that a deliverer has come. The revelation of the Bible has given this people the right name, a beast, and the most vicious description does the revelation give. In Daniel of the Bible, this people is described as a beast rising out of the sea with three ribs of a man in its mouth. This
mm.
is the description of America with the black slaves swallowed for 3 centuries in the power of our enemies. Look at what he said. He said he described them as a beast rising up out of the sea. What
Mhm.
does that remind you of?
Beast rising up out of the sea,
Yeah,
Leviathan. Yeah, Leviathan.
that reminds me of they ass coming in them ships crossing the Atlantic Ocean,
Mm, mm, mm,
rising their ass up out the sea, a damn beast.
mm,
We have been going back and forth across the Atlantic, the Pacific, the Indian Ocean for thousands of years, trading amongst our brothers and sisters. We had a global trade network. We were trading all over the world with our indigenous brothers and sisters for thousands of years before the white man ever got on a boat and crossed the ocean. They were too afraid to go far into the ocean, and so they would stay along the coast. But when they began to go further and further after using our astrolabes and our compasses, and getting lost and not knowing where the fuck they was going, they came like a beast that was rising the fuck up out that sea. And this shit ain't never been the same ever since.
mm, mm, mm,
Because they came to the shores of America like an animal.
mm,
They went to the Caribbean like animals. They went to the Pacific like animals. They went over there to the Indies like animals. Everywhere they go, they present themselves as beasts.
mm,
Because that's what they are. And Elijah Muhammad said the black man of the South would be a fool to vote for any white man of the South to rule him. And he says he should stay away from the polls because the white man for whom he votes is an enemy of his and is bound to tighten the shackles tighter than ever. They preach of enforcing the law, and that law is an unjust law directed against the black man. Vote for Allah and for his servant Elijah Muhammad, and by the power of our Allah, who has come in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom our praise is due forever. All the prophecies of the Bible of what he will do in freeing the black man of America will be fulfilled. Let us submit to him and live in peace with money, in good homes, and with the friendship of God and the righteous. There is nothing that you have to fear today but God himself. It is useless for us to fear our enemy after the coming and presence of our God, who has power over the very atoms of life. For it is fear of the white man that will cause our people to eat the fire of hell with the white man if they do not recognize the fact that it is God whom they should fear and not the devil. The world of the white man is now crumbling and coming to naught. The safety of the black man is in his God, as the Holy Quran teaches us. In this day and time, seek refuge in Allah, the God of the black man. He is the only place of refuge. We have made America one of the what?
Riches.
Richest and what?
Strong.
Strongest people on earth. Her mighty navy is commanding the high seas with undersea craft crawling on the bottom of the ocean, carrying deadly weapons to surface and pour out on towns and cities of other than America, and with listening devices set up throughout the earth on land, sea, and in the air to listen and see what people are saying about her and planning against her, knowing she is guilty and deserving of death and that she should be taken and destroyed. She
Mm.
has prepared to put up a mighty battle, but Allah too has prepared, and He is the what?
Best preparer.
Woo! Knowing that, it say knowing their thoughts before they were ever made. They
Mm.
have not the slightest chance today against the power of Allah that is working against them, even through the forces of nature. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He said she has prepared to put up a mighty battle, but Allah too has prepared, and He the best to prepare
Mm-hmm.
because He know what they thinking.
That's right.
And the white race has been disgracing the entire black nation of the earth. Africa is suffering under the same wicked power of the white race and having an awful time trying to rid herself of such a demon. She will do so, and soon. Here in America, Almighty Allah wants to make himself known with both the punishment and the destruction of this mighty and powerful and rich people. Fear not, my dear black people, for we have Allah with us, and he is mighty, a strong and the most powerful one to be feared. Come follow me, and I will lead you to salvation.
Mm, mm, mm. Beautiful. Beautiful. I looked that up about slavery in 1970, and it says May Louise Walls Miller, for example, did not gain her freedom until 1963, despite being born in the 1940s. Some individuals and families remained in situations resembling slavery, often due to debt peonage and other forms of corrosion well into the 1970s.
Mhm.
Deliberate, deliberate.
What's her name?
May Louise Walls Miller.
May Louise Walls. Do they have a picture of her?
Let me see if I can.
Yeah. May Louise Miller. Oh yeah, they got a picture of her.
Mm,
Let me put up. Let me show you her picture.
okay.
Ain't that some shit?
Mm-hmm.
They know how to trick you.
Exactly.
They got game. They smart when they want to be.
Mm-hmm. Mm, mm, mm.
There was nothing stopping them from getting out there working.
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, they had them people out there living like slaves, chattel property
Mm,
for years. And
mm,
this is our sister right here because we got to put a face to a name.
mm-hmm.
Gotta put a face to a name. I saw that, Maurice. I saw that years ago. She's not the only one. It's many more stories like this.
Mm. Wow.
And they just passed. You know, there was a an illegal immigrant who escaped a celebrity. I don't know if it was a celebrity, but it was a very rich, prominent person in Los Angeles. And they had an illegal immigrant in the house who they were using her as a slave, a maid, and she escaped somehow and reported it to police. There are a lot of rich people in this country who have slaves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They do. This is their way of life, to think that they can keep people in bondage. We're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with a very wicked people,
Exactly.
and they slick. And Elijah Muhammad said we got to be careful of their technology. They always got something up their sleeve.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And then you have a 10-year-old boy killed in Mississippi. The damn cracker ran him over. He was on the ATV and the cracker was in the truck, ran him over and kept going. And they eventually arrested him, gave him bail of $41,000.
Hmm?
Yeah, gave him bail of $41,000. You done killed the 10-year-old black child, and your bail is only $41,000, and then didn't even charge him with murder. Didn't even charge him with murder. This worst charge was leaving the scene of an accident. Didn't even charge that cracker with murder. Deliberate, vicious, deliberate. Mm, mm,
Okay,
mm.
so you know that Elijah Muhammad mentioned that George Wallace was running for president.
Mm-hmm.
I have to close my eyes on what you just said. I actually saw it was Tion. I think it was Tion Poo. I saw that in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it just let me breathe for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
So Elijah Muhammad mentioned George Wallace and said that our brothers and sisters feared him. Say he was running for president. So I wanted to put a face to a name, and the person. Do you see him? Yeah, you see him. So this is George Wallace. Now, what do you notice behind him?
The Confederate flag.
Yes, sir. In 1958, George Wallace made his first bid for Alabama's gubernatorial seat. Okay, so he was running for governor in 1958. The NAACP endorsed him while the KKK endorsed his opponent in the primary. He was defeated by a wide margin. 4 years later, George Wallace had become a fiery segregationist and won the election to the governor's office in a landslide. Okay. So when he was first running, he wasn't a segregationist. 4 years later, when
Mm,
he wins, all of a sudden now he's a segregationist and he wins by a landslide. Because what? He promised segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. And that's in quotation marks. But it say he soon buckled under federal opposition. His inaugural speech made him a national figure. His now when he was inaugurated as governor, his speech was written by Asa Earl Carter, who was the leader of the KKK.
mm,
And it says in one article that I was reading about Asa Carter, he was an unstoppable alcoholic. So the
mm,
governor of Alabama won in a landslide, had his inaugural speech written by the leader of the KKK. Interestingly enough, more about this governor, he is the one that ordered Bloody Sunday.
mm-hmm.
After the police murdered Jimmy Lee Jackson, 600 people began a march on March 7th. 1965, from Selma to Montgomery to confront Governor Wallace about the lack of justice served for the officer who committed the crime and to protest the violation of their constitutional rights to vote. A violent confrontation between Alabama state troopers and peaceful civil rights marchers horrified the nation. The troops that beat and tear gassed the demonstrators were under orders from Governor George Wallace to halt the march. Hold on, I messed up. And it says, years later, George Wallace would sit next to the podium at a ceremony commemorating the Selma to Montgomery Civil Rights March, holding the hand of the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And the leader of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference was black. Now you done ordered Bloody Sunday and had our black brothers and sisters beaten and tear gassed. And you's gonna sit here and hold this goddamn man hand at a commemoration ceremony? Now watch this. In 1980, so this is the picture. I found a picture, and this was in 1982. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference President Joseph E. Lowery shakes hands with Alabama Governor George Wallace at the 25th annual SCLC convention in Birmingham, Alabama. And it says Birmingham, Alabama. And the Tuskegee mayor, Johnny Ford, looks on. You see the two black brothers in the background shaking this white man's hand?
Yeah.
After Bloody Sunday? Now, Asa Carter, quickly watch this. This is Asa Carter. I'm going to show you a bigger picture of Asa Carter. It's coming on the screen. Asa Carter, he's the KKK leader. He was determined to, and this is from PBS. It says George Wallace and his circle, American Experience. I'm sorry, George Wallace and his circle, American Experience, the official site of PBS. So Asa Carter, who was leader of the KKK, he was determined to out nigger the opposition in his 1962 bid for governor. George Wallace turned to the politics of race with a new fiery speechwriter, Asa Carter. Carter, a right-wing radio announcer and founder of his own KKK organization, was a man with a dark, troubling past. He had a long history of violence. In fact, it's not an exaggeration to call him something of a kind of psychopath, says Wallace biographer Dan Carter. Asa Carter had shot two men in a dispute over money just a few years before joining Wallace's campaign, and his Klan group shared his volatile temperament. In one 18-month period, recounts Dan Carter in his George Wallace biography, his followers joined in the stoning of Authoring Lucy on the University of Alabama campus, assaulted black singer Nat King Cole on a Birmingham stage, beat Birmingham civil rights activist Fred Shuttlesworth, and stabbed his wife. God. And in what was billed as a warning to potential black troublemakers, castrated a randomly chosen, slightly retarded black handyman. Political observers noted a new punch in Wallace's stump speeches during his 62 campaign, and Carter was credited for the change. Asa Carter was the little quiet guy who always looked like he needed a shave, remembers Alabama journalist Wayne Greenhaw. He was a hell of a writer. I mean, he knew how to put words together. Last but not least, guess how Asa Carter died? How? Somebody beat his ass in a fist fight. Wow. You got your ass beat in a fist fight. And you out here raising hell, creating your own branch of KKK, stabbing people, castrating motherfuckers, throwing rocks at people, and somebody beat your hands with their fists. But can you imagine how many black people he killed to be a leader of his own clan?
Wow. Mm.
You can't get in that position unless you've killed us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
And you violent about it.
Mm. 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 Mm.
This is who Elijah Muhammad was talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
he ain't nothing to fear. I could probably take him right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They ain't nothing to fear.
Nothing whatsoever. Mm. Mm. Mm.
Just violent.
Mm.
And this governor, he's not a segregationist. But to get into a political position and had the audacity to be standing in front of a Confederate flag. Do you look? Oh my God. Okay. Maurice, do me a favor.
Uh-huh.
Have you seen the Alabama state flag?
I probably have, but I don't remember what it looks like off the top of my head. I think if I'm correctly, I think it has the Confederate flag, a part of that flag, I believe.
Hold on. See, this how you know Alabama's still with the shit. This is how you know right now that America, these people in politics, they still with the shit. And I'm gonna show you something else I noticed. Let me pull it up. Right, I should have had it here, but let me pull it up. Let me show how they still with the shit. And we have to learn how to start teaching our children symbols.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start instead of teaching them about Noah and Job and goddamn all them biblical characters every fucking Sunday. We got to start teaching our children how to notice the racism in their symbols. Watch this. Watch this. Hold on. Here I am right here. There you go. It's going to come on the screen right now.
Okay.
That's Alabama.
Mm. Mm.
You see it?
Yep.
That's Confederate.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn how you try to clean it up and exclude a few colors and stars. That's the goddamn Confederacy.
Exactly.
They're still elite. They're still showing their allegiance to this bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
How in the fuck? How this is the bullshit right in our face.
Exactly.
You still holding on to that Confederate thought, that Confederate history, that Confederate symbol on your goddamn state flag, and they want allegiance?
Mm. Mm-mm.
Here go Florida.
Mm. Wow. Mm. Mm-mm.
That's Confederate.
Mm.
What other reason would there be to have the X?
Mm.
How
Mm.
can they explain that shit away?
Exactly.
You can't. It's right there for us to see. And I don't give a damn about no goddamn school code, no goddamn football, basketball. I don't give a fuck. I ain't pledging my allegiance to this bullshit. Cause they always have the US flag and the state flag right up under that shit. They kiss my ass. I ain't doing it. Fuck it. I don't want your money. I quit. And they didn't even want us in their league in the first place. The only reason they accepted us into their sports leagues is for financial gain.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how? Let me tell y'all something. One thing a black man will do is get out on the football field with them little black boys. Black men groom black boys in Pee Wee League and they teach them the foundations of football and basketball. So why, if the black man is putting his time and his energy into teaching little boys the foundation of sports, why do we hand them over to the public schools and high school and they selling tickets to go watch our children play sports? And then
Mm.
we hand their ass over to the colleges and universities and to the NBA and the NFL for them to profit off what the fuck we done taught our children.
Exactly.
Why the fuck we can't rent our own football stadiums? We don't need them motherfuckers. We can have our own sports teams. We could be selling goddamn concessions. We can have some goddamn big booty fine ass cheerleaders. We don't need them motherfuckers.
Exactly.
All that money can stay in our community. They let us in their shit because they profited from our blood and sweat. They didn't want us on their goddamn football team, and we had the teams, and we was winning.
Mm.
Even in boxing. What's that black boxer that was kicking them white man ass and
With
had a white woman?
Jack Johnson.
My God, today.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need their sports. And look what happened when Kobe gave his allegiance and married that wife. See, I believe that Kobe was in love with Brandy. Kobe was in love with black women. But they told Kobe the same thing they told you. We could take you up to that mountain, but you got to bow down and worship me first. You see what I'm saying? So he went and
Exactly.
he married that motherfucking white woman who took all his goddamn money and left his mama and daddy in poverty. And when Kobe decided to get his own shit, they took that nigga what? Up in the goddamn helicopter and dropped his motherfucking ass and killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking play with me.
Mm. Mm-mm. Mm.
And that white woman kept all his goddamn money while he was burnt to a fucking crisp. And Kobe was finna try to get his own shit, but they would not allow him to get his own because they know the power and the money that we can generate. We do not need to turn our children over to public schools. We
Mm.
just need to get a bunch of men. We need to get some men to get some LLCs. You own your team. I own my team. Brother Roy own his team. Who else up in here? T. Ampu own his team. Michael Allen own his motherfucking team. And y'all team get a schedule. Y'all team play each other team, rent a stadium, and keep all that goddamn money in our community.
Mm-hmm.
We should not be allowing our children to go to the. My friend was a high school treasurer. He said, "Oh, them high schools make millions."
Mm.
I couldn't believe it.
Mm.
The high schools make millions off of football. They bring in a lot of money, not just from ticket sales, but from the concession stand and apparel.
Mm.
And from there, we just hand their ass over to the colleges and universities, but we don't need them. What we need is organization. We need LLCs. We need women to support you all and help. We can run the fucking concession stand. Lord knows God, we got the cheerleaders because we love to dance.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
We don't need them.
Mm.
We
Mm-mm.
need some common fucking sense.
Mm. Mm-mm.
And they're not going to let us go easily.
Oh no.
We're going to have to be prepared to fight.
Exactly.
But they make millions off of us in sports. And we know that when Jackie Robinson, when he came to Miami, he had to sleep in the goddamn Overtown while the other baseball players slept over on the beach. He had to sleep in Blacktown.
Mm.
But you the best member on the goddamn team.
Exactly.
And you going out there on these white people team while they spitting on you and calling you nigga.
Mm. Mm-mm. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. That's loyalty, boy. That's what loyalty gets you. Mm. Mm-mm. Wow. That's loyalty.
It's foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
Elijah Muhammad said you look like a damn fool.
Yep.
A damn fool.
Mm.
We are the prize. We are the talent. You got the talent out there waiting for a paycheck.
Exactly. Exactly. And I didn't even think about it, but I didn't know high schools made that kind of money off the day. It never even dawned on me that the high schools are making money off of this thing. It
The
never
high
even
schools
dawned
that
on
bring a crowd, they do because they have. If you when you think of how much they sell those tickets for and how much they
me.
money make, how much money they make at the concession stand, and they sell shit with school logos, they make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the schools may have people come out and rent tables to sell stuff and do food trucks. Oh, they make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And those boys have been taught by black fathers that leave their job and go to the parks and teach their own sons and nephews and neighbors the foundation of the sport, and we just hand them over to white institutions and get nothing from it.
Mm, mm, mm.
We can have our own. And
Exactly.
and I'm telling you, if it's any black man out there, get a group of black men together. When you go out there at the park and recreation, have a conversation with these men. Try to get y'all an LLC. Everybody own their own team. Find a way to keep the money and the league in house. It can be done. It can be done.
Mm, mm, mm. It has to be done. It has to be done. Mm. Wow.
We got the band, we got the cheerleaders, we got the gymnasts, we got the athletes, we got people that know Photoshop, they can do graphics. We have people with food trucks to handle concession. We got everything we need but common sense.
Exactly. Hmm. Definitely. Definitely. And by doing that, this is how you produce a new reality. This is how you produce a new reality. Mm, mm, mm.
So, yeah, it's on you.
Mm.
I got a headache.
I want to talk about just for a little bit. I want to read some stuff about May Louise Miller. Can you put her picture back up for me?
Sure.
This sister right here, Lord have mercy. So she was born May Louise Walls, August 24th, 1943, in Gillensburg, Mississippi. She died in 2014, age 70 to 71. Resting place, Richard's Funeral Home in Louisiana. Spouse was Wallace Miller. Children, four adopted children. It says May's story was unearthed when she spoke to historian Antoinette Harrell, who highlighted it in the short documentary, The Untold Story Slavery in the 20th Century. And this was done in 2009. The story inspired the 2022 film Alice. Now, I seen that film Alice, and it's a good movie to watch. I didn't know that it was because of her story that it was made, but it's a story that all of us should check out. In 2003, May and six of her siblings joined a class action lawsuit seeking reparations to the descendants of enslaved people from several private companies with lawyer Deidre Farmer Perlman. May stated to NPR that maybe I wasn't free, but maybe it can free somebody else. There's a lot of people out there that's really enslaved and don't know how to get out. In 2004, a judge dropped their lawsuit. Childhood peonage says the Miller family, Kane Wall, lost his own farmland after he signed a contract that he could not read, which indebted him to a local plantation owner. Wall family was forced to do field work and housework for several white families
Mm.
attending the same church on the Louisiana-Mississippi border. The Gordon family, the McDaniel family, and the Wall family, no relations. Peon owners use violent coercion akin to that of slavery to force Black people to work off imagined debts with unpaid labor. Peons couldn't leave their own peons couldn't leave their owner's land without permission, which made it nearly impossible for them to pay their debt. Like most peons, the Walls family was not permitted to leave the land, was illiterate, and was under the impression that all Black people were being treated like that.
Mm.
They were repeatedly beaten
Shit.
by plantation owners, often including whips or chains. May's sister Annie Wall recounted that the whip would wrap around your body and knock you down. The Wall family was not paid in money or in kind with food. They beat us. They didn't feed us. We had to go drink water out of the creek.
Mm.
The Wall family ate wild animals and leftovers. They were raked all in a dishpan like slop. They
Wait a minute. What? Read that
yeah, they were raked in all and put in a dishpan like slop. So the
again. What?
leftovers, they
Uh-huh.
raked it all together in a dishpan and fed it to them like slop, like you would do a
Like a
pig.
pig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They treated the dogs a whole lot better than they treated us. May recounted harvesting cotton, corn, peas, butter beans, string beans, and potatoes. Whatever it was, that's what you did for no money at all. May alleges that starting at age 5 years old, she was repeatedly raped
Jesus.
along with her mother by the white men of the Gordon family. Miller would get sent to the landlord's house and raped by whatever men were present. May recounted that she was threatened with violence to keep this abuse secret from her father. They told me, if you go down there and tell your father, King Wall Sr., we will kill him before the morning. I knew there wasn't anyone who could help me. This is real. This is what our family went through, goes through. She ran away at 9 and they picked her back up and beat her some more. But raping continued. This was deliberate. This was deliberate. And when they sued them, the cracker judge threw the lawsuit out, saying you're not entitled to reparations. You're not entitled to fair treatment. You're not entitled to justice. We can never forget this. We have to always remember this. See, we got a responsibility, not just to the living, but we got a responsibility to the dead. When our great ones go on, some of our people say they're resting in power. But I say, how can they rest in power when we're still struggling right here with this same old enemy? They will never rest in power until we remove this enemy, this vicious enemy from the face of the earth. They done this deliberately, not by accident, deliberately. This is what they've done. This is what they do. This is who they are. We can never forgive them. We can never forgive them. We should never become an apologist for them. These are crimes against humanity. This is genocide. And you should hate them with a perfect hatred. They got to go. They got to go. There is no good in them. None. They got to go. Just looking at our sister and reading some of the things that was done to her. They didn't deserve that. But because this enemy, this vicious enemy, didn't see no value in them except to serve them. They'll pay for that. And I bet you the families that enslaved her are still living today. Still living today. And probably living good. They need a knock on the fucking door.
I wonder how it ended. How, like, what happened to cause them to get caught or freed from this situation?
Somehow she met that historian and was telling the historian what they were going through. And she's like, oh no, slavery over with.
Just like Juneteenth.
Exactly.
They say, I read this story about Juneteenth. The white family was inside. I'm gonna stop sharing because the last few minutes I do want to show you something before we go. There was a slave who was up in the attic while the white family was having a conversation about the Emancipation Proclamation. So the female slave, she's up in the attic and she overhears the conversation that she free. She was so excited that she fell out of the attic, and when she fell to the floor, she took off running, and the white slave masters began to shoot after her. But thank goodness that not one bullet hit her.
Mm.
And this, excuse me, that I'm going to show you quickly. This is after the Civil War, and this is what white people were doing to us after the war to try to keep us in bondage. And I'm just going to, I haven't, this is another presentation I was doing, but I will share this with you because we got a few minutes. So after the Civil War, it say Black Americans who fled racial oppression either returned to retrieve the rest of their family or sent train tickets back home. In response, as white Southerners observed train platforms packed with African Americans, several cities passed ordinances that made it illegal for trains to accept prepaid tickets. There were ordinances put in place to also prevent group travel. If Black families or clusters of African Americans tried to purchase group rates, police literally went up to the platforms and rounded people up, okay, to dissuade Black people from traveling. And the intimidation tactic worked. It was based on the concept of place, which was the word that whites and Blacks used to talk about where Blacks often stood in the social order. If African Americans left the South, then there was a threat both to economic interests and to the white way of life.
Mm.
And so that was from James Grossman, Executive Director of the American Historical Association. And this is a picture of some African Americans who were trying to leave Jacksonville in 1921. It's coming up on the screen. This is a nice picture. I mean, considering the fact all the shit we've been through, this probably was their Sunday clothes. I don't know, but it doesn't look that bad. But is it on the screen?
Yes, we're looking at it.
Okay, yeah, they don't look that bad, but they're trying to get the hell up out the South in 1921 to go up north. And so this was published in a newspaper. This says the Defender banned. It was the Chicago Defender. So, and they banned it, the Chicago Defender, from putting advertisements about employment because they did not want the blacks from the South to go up north during the Great Migration. And it says, this is from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and it says February 24th. 18 leaders of the colored community here, including 2 ministers, 2 school principals, and professional men, have been named defendants in a suit filed by city officials seeking an injunction to prohibit circulation in the county of a Chicago newspaper on the ground that the paper tended to incite the colored people. And they had a temporary restraining order. Now, if you see right here, this is the actual help wanted from the Chicago Defender in December 1st, 1917. And it says help wanted, male, men. If you are seeking employment, come to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Wages are between $2.50 to $6 per day. Board and lodging reasonable. And it says for further information, call on or address the Booker T. Washington Social and Industrial Center, which is located at 318 Cherry Street in St. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And this is from, like I said, the Chicago Defender in 1917. So, you know, look at the tactics that they were using to try to get us to not leave the South. Because we threaten because it threatens their economic, you know. Okay, we ain't got nobody to work the damn farms no more. We have nobody to cut down the trees. We have no niggas to do this to that. So we got to put ordinances in place to make sure that they don't leave. And we want, and you got newspapers in Chicago. They don't. They saying, you know, passing all kind of laws and shit that y'all can't even advertise for on behalf of the nigga either. These people are fucking delusional.
Mm.
An agent is held for enticing Negroes. Atlanta, Georgia, Wednesday, March 28, 1917. It's saying Greenwood, South Carolina, March 28, James B. Maddox, a white, claiming Gainesville, Georgia as his home, was arrested here today on a charge of enticing Negro labor to southern cities. The arrest followed an investigation of several weeks by county authorities, and officers declare they have a clear case against him. It is charged that he was paid $2.50 for each immigrant and that he advanced 1/2 of the railroad fare, which was returned to him after the Negroes went north. During the last 6 months, several hundred Negroes have left Greenwood County for northern cities, particularly Detroit, Philadelphia, and Jersey City. In a number of instances, large farmers are without help to plant this year's crop. Maddox has operated a loan exchange and several public service care for months. Oh, your ass was going to jail. You fucking advertised for a black man to come up north and get a job? They'll mob your ass. Kill you, arrest you at the goddamn train station, or say that, oh, you can't buy no tickets for your family because you trying to send for them. The police wrestling you up. Like, this is the shit that white people do. They always got a plan to come against us. Mm-hmm. Always got something to come against us. We just trying to leave the South. Who give a fuck about their crops? We don't give a fuck about your crops. We don't give a damn about that. It's sad we had to stay as long as we did. And this is the shit they did to keep. Last but not least, Klan burns K on a man's face. They burning the goddamn alphabets on people's face. I found this. And this was 19, I think it say 25.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow.
Yeah, I don't have no final comments because I have a headache now.
Boy, I am so angry. I am just so angry. And to hear as we're trying to escape the South and they don't want to let us go because it's going to interrupt their standard of living. Lazy motherfuckers. It's going to interfere with their way of life. Ooh, boy, oh boy. Vicious, deliberate. I understand when Allah says in the Quran, you may forgive them, but I will never forgive them. Then he says, why would you? Listen to God is saying, why would you offer them love? Why would you do it? While they drive you out? Why would you offer them love? We should have nothing but hatred for them. Perfect hatred for them. For what they have done and for what they do to keep you in a servitude way. I mean, just think of it. Maya said, oh my God, trying to make her buy the secretary a gift. Who the fuck? You didn't earn her money. She earned it. But you see her, my nigga, you gonna do what I tell you to do. In their mind, that's how they see us. That's what comes out of their mouth. They don't give a damn what the year is. We better understand what time it is. What time it is. Because we got to start speaking the language that they understand. Then all of the bullshit will cease. They killed a 10-year-old boy, black boy, and didn't give a shit. I just killed the nigga, so what? And what we doing? No justice, no peace. Go to that motherfucking cracker house and drag that bastard out and kill that motherfucker. That's what needs to be done. Stop the singing. Execute. That's what justice looks like. That's what justice looks like. Be willing to give justice. Be ready to give justice. Be willing, ready, and execute. It's just that fucking simple. That's where we are. We're dealing with a vicious, deadly enemy who deliberately wants to make you bow down, who deliberately seeks to harm you and your children. No more singing. It's time to whoop their ass. It's time to speak the language they understand. And you watch and see. The God we serve will give you justice. The God we serve will give you the victory. He said, it wasn't you who slayed them. It was I who slayed them by your hands. Use me, Lord. Use me. Let me to be your justice. Every black man, when you make your prayers, that should be in your prayers. Use my hands. Use me to deliver justice. Our women and our children depend on it. Our future generations depend on it. Get ready and be prepared for battle. Be ready and be prepared for battle. Because that's how we're going to get rid of this enemy who is a cancer to the planet itself. Just as syphilis was a white man's disease, cancer used to be a white man's disease.
AIDS too.
AIDS too, just like she said. But now all of a sudden, we're leading, dying from diseases that they had. We got work to do. We got work to do. Maya, you want to say anything else before we shut it down?
No, what is Amir Joseph talking about? He said, I thought that Farrar was supposed to take his people out.
I don't know what Amir talking about. But we getting ready for battle. Master Farad Muhammad came and gave us a knowledge and gave us instructions. That's why he said, make all men and boys join the FOI. Why? To get ready for battle. To get ready for battle. He will destroy the white man by using our hands. It is not going to be no picture where you sit home and watch on the clock. No, it's going to be something that you involved in. That lawnmower is coming. Simple as that. In the mirror, if you don't know him, you better get used to, you better get to know him. Because trust and believe, death will find you. We want to thank everybody that came and stayed with us and enjoyed the teachings. I thank my co-host, Sister Maya, for all that she does. She's a great helper to your brother. Awesome confidant. She's a wartime, as they would say, a wartime consigliere.
What word? What word is that? Consigliarity. What?
Yeah, consigliere.
Oh, now you know I don't know what that word means.
You're a counselor.
Amir is an idiot. He's an idiot. How does my art and Islam go together? He don't even. He need to just let me ignore him. What you say?
Mhm. It's a counselor. It's an advisor.
Oh,
Hmm. That's right, T. The purge has begun.
and you know white people are glitching.
Oh yeah.
They glitching. They doing some of the most heinous things because they cannot contain themselves any longer.
Mm-mm.
They really tried to suppress some of their beast like ways, but it's coming out. You can't suppress it for too long.
Mm-mm. No, you sure can't.
They can't. They glitching and they showing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So for who exactly they are, and nothing that they do surprise me.
Nothing at all.
They got groups of white women that have sex with dogs,
Mm-mm.
private groups, and they take pictures, videos. They confer about they won't confer, but they talk about it. And oh, Benji did good tonight, but he bit me, and we got a little wild, just nasty shit.
Mm-mm.
So the women fucking dogs, and the men fucking each other, and they fucking children.
Mm-mm. Exactly, and that's their lifestyle. That's what they love to do.
Yeah, that's what they do. Always coming in circles where they don't belong, trying to ruffle our feathers. Don't who give a fuck if it go along or not, bitch. It is what I said it is. Whatever the fuck I say it is.
That's right.
Take your ass somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Bitch, you ain't welcome over here. We don't come fucking with y'all. This goes to y'all always come fucking with us. We ain't,
Mm-hmm.
we ain't dealing with you. We don't give a fuck about you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Take your hateful ass on somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-mm. I want to thank Brother Roy for being in the house. Peace and blessings, big bro. I want to thank T for being in the house. Peace and blessings, T. Who else we got in here? Michael, peace and blessings. Welcome to the program. Brother Emil, Sandra Day, peace and blessings. D, Earthman, peace and blessings. We're glad all of y'all joined us tonight for the program. We love y'all and we thank y'all for continue to come out and hear and understand and make these lessons a part of your life, because this is life. This is our life. And we love y'all, most definitely. And as we always say, you kill the nigga in you, I'm going to kill the nigga in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first. Today, tomorrow, and forever. Love you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. So you better get the message and get it straight.
You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that.
Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.